Hello everyone, welcome to GB Ready Automation World. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go and subscribe to it. Enable notification for more interesting videos. Right, please share to your friends, like the video, share your comments. Right, today's topic is one more interesting video. Interview questions that are asked in Deloitte. Right, at one of the right MNC company. Right. It has three rounds of technical rounds, one manager, one HR. Right. In Deloitte, we have three technical, one manager, one HR. Right. Quickly, we will go through it. Right. I will explain highly high level. Right. Not in depth. I have noted down all the questions and little bit answers. Right. Whoever want a document, right? Please share your right email ID to me. I will share to you. Right. I will quickly go through it, not in detail. Right. What are the right Selenium questions? Right. What is an alert and explain it. Right. We know what is an alert, how to handle. There are different types of alerts. A simple alert, confirmation, prompt alerts. Right. How to handle alerts? Driver dot switch to alert, and then we can either accept, dismiss, or send keys. We can do and get a text. Right. We can also get the text of it. Either we can accept, dismiss, send keys. Right. Then get text. Right, we can also have a wait also. Right, we can have a explicit wait. Right, wait until alert is present, so that we will not get any exceptions. Right, next question is how to handle Windows. Right, we know this is also a okay, everyone knows it. Right, Windows handling means we can use the, if you want to get the parent window ID, driver dot get window handle. If you want to get the all the window handle, driver dot get window handle set we will get. If you want to switch to, there are only two windows, if you want to switch to child window, we can write a simple for loop, and if it is not equal to parent window, then driver dot switch to dot window. Here main thing is driver dot switch to dot window ID. We can switch to it. Right, what is the difference between right char and character, int and integer? Right, this is the actually Java question, I think. Yeah. Anyway, right, what is the difference between char and character? Right, char and int are primitives. Right, char and int are primitives. Character and integers are wrapper classes. Those are all objects. Right, wrapper classes. Character and we will use in the list collection. What we will use? We will use a character and integer wrapper classes, not the char and int. Right, what are the default values of char and int? Char and int, char is empty, int will take a 0. But character and integer default values are null. Right, char will take a less memory. Right, char and integer values, primitive values will take a less memory. But character and this take it will take some more memory. Right, if you take a example, consider list of integer. Right, we cannot list will not allow primitive, only collection of objects will allow wrapper classes. Right, and what is an action class in Selenium? Right, if you want to write mouse over, if you want to do the mouse over or right click, double click. Right, if I want to click and hold, drag and drop, right, then we will go for a action class. How to create action class object? Action class is equal to new actions of driver. Right, then action dot move to element. We need to find the element, then move to element, and then just perform it. Right, if you want to do click and hold, action dot click and hold, release, drag and drop. Right, context click, right click if you want to do. Right, we can do all these actions on the actions class. What is difference between find element? Find elements, we know this is a general question. Right, find element will return single web element, find elements will return multiple right elements, list of elements. Right, it will find the first matching element. Find element will return first matching element, but find elements will return all matching elements. Right, if find element did not find element, it will throw no such element, but find elements return a empty list. Right, this is the general right question only. Upload, how to upload a right. Basically, we will use Selenium will not support file upload, right? But directly, if it is a input tag, right? If it is a input tag, directly we can use element dot send keys. First, we will upload that element, identify the element, and then directly we can path the path. By using send keys, we can send the path. What is the file we want to upload? It will work most of the times. If it not works, then we have to go for a either robot class or auto IT, right? We have to use those. Drop down selection not having access to DOM, right? Sometimes the drop down is not part of HTML tag. Selenium cannot use select class, right? In such cases, we use the action class or JavaScript executor. Sometimes drop downs directly, right? Select tag will not be there, right? It will have a div tags or something, right? Then we can use right action class, or sometimes if you mouse over, then only it will populate. Such drop downs will be there, or directly click and then select, right? Either we can use action class or JavaScript executor to handle those things. Suppose there is a scenario based question: if you have 100 pages in the application, do you create page classes for each? Right, it depends on the application structure. Right, we cannot create 100 pages means 100 each 100 pages we cannot create. Right, we first we need to right, explore all those. It depends on the application. Page object model creates separate pages for frequently used pages. We can common elements. We will have a header, footer. Right, each element, each page we will have a some header and footer. In those cases, we will use a reusable components. And we can use the factory pattern, helps to manage multiple pages dynamically. Right, these are the some of the right login page how you will create a page class. Right, for larger application, reuse the code whenever possible instead of creating 100 separate classes. In which scenario we will use the fluent wait. Right, fluent wait we will use when elements load dynamically and polling intervals are required. Suppose wait for a condition with a defined timeout, keeps checking regular intervals. I want to suppose some drop down is taking some time, right? And loading frequently, right? It is taking some time. In those cases, what we will do, we will frequently, right, validate whether it is coming or not frequently, right? By using fluent wait. Right, how to create a wait equal new fluent wait with the timeout, polling every ignore. Right, we can wait until expanded condition visibility. Right, these are all we know. Right, handling Ajax elements, waiting for dynamically loaded content. Right, avoid thread.slip for efficiency. Right, we will not use mostly thread.slip. Right, what are the Java questions? Right, here explain about the OOPS concept. Right, we know all OOPS. What are the OOPS concept? Encapsulation. Right, what is encapsulation? Hiding the internal details and showing only necessary details to the user. Right, we can tell wrapping up of data members and methods into a single unit. Right, wrapping up of data members and methods into a single unit is called encapsulation. Encapsulation is nothing but what achieving the security. By using the private properties, we will not directly give access to other members. That is hiding the internal details. That inheritance means what? Acquiring the parent class properties into child class to reuse the right, to reuse the properties of parent class into child class. We will go for inheritance, right? Single level inheritance, multi level inheritance, hybrid inheritance, hierarchical. Java will not support multiple inheritance, right? These are all basic questions only. Polymorphism means what? We have two types of polymorphism, right? Method overloading, overriding, dynamic polymorphism, or static binding. Dynamic binding, static binding. Right, we can call it with any name. Ability to take multiple forms. Right, ability to take multiple forms. Method of overloading means what? The same name, it will change the right? Arguments, right? Type of arguments, order of arguments, right? It will change it. Overriding means what? Parent and child, right? Whenever overriding parent class method in the child class is called a overriding. Abstraction, hiding implementation details, showing only necessary details. Suppose if you take example of ATM, if you go, right, we will see only menus, we will not see internally what will happen. Similarly, abstraction can be achieved by using abstract class and interfaces. Abstraction can be achieved by using abstract class interface, right? Hiding the internal details, showing only essential features only. That is called abstract. These are all we will know, basic OOPS concept. And sometimes they will ask, right, in the project in Selenium where you have used, right? Those things we have to remember where we have used. Right, for encapsulation, if you take a page classes, inheritance means base page and child page, or base test, child test. Right, we will have. Right, similarly, overriding means we can take any click method by using web element, we can click on it, by element, we can click on it. Right, overriding means we can override a parent class. Sometimes parent class click method is not working, we can child in override it. Right, these we can tell. Abstraction, if we have used any abstract classes interfaces, you can tell those things. Then what is the difference between list and set? Right, list will allow duplicates, set does not allow. Right, it will maintain the insertion order. Right, set doesn't guarantee order, but a linked hash set will preserve the order. Right, we can expect this linked hash set interview question. Elements can be accessed using index, but no index based access. Here, what are the child classes of list? List is an interface, right? Array list, linked list, and set, hash set, reset, linked hash set. Right, then hash map. What are hash map, hash table, linked hash map? Right, hash map is the, right, all are used to store key value pairs. Right, all are used to store group of key value pairs in a single object. Right, coming to thread safety, hash map is not thread safe, not synchronized, and hash table is synchronized, that is thread safe. Linked hash map is not synchronized, that is not thread safe. Right, allow one null key, multiple null values. Hash table does not allow null keys and values. Linked hash map will allow one null key, multiple null values. Here no order, right? It will not maintain the order, but a linked hash map will maintain the insertion order. Right, hash map is the faster. Due to thread safety, hash table is a little slow. Linked hash map is slower than hash map. Compared to hash map, linked hash map is slow. Right, how to create object of, these are all child classes of the map only. Hash map, hash table, linked hash map, these are all child classes of map interface. Right, one more interesting question, right, we know already. Difference between a double equal and equal. Double equal to means what? If you want to compare the references, we will use a double equal. Dot equal means if you want to content comparison. Right, use it for object, right, memory addresses. Here values double equal. It works for both primitive and objects. It works for only dot equal works for only objects, and a double equal to b means if it will check both will have same memory or not, same memory address. Right. Here it will check a dot equals b means content value. Suppose if you take this, right, famous interview question, right, both will have a memory address different. Whenever we will create a string with new, what will happen? It will have both different memory addresses. So if you compare s1 equal to s2, it will have a different memory, so false. But content is same, so it will be true. Right, what is an abstraction? Abstract classes and interface. Right, both are used to hide the implementation details and showing only necessary details. Abstraction means to achieve the abstraction, we will use abstract class or interface. Right, showing only necessary details and hiding the internal details. Can use for both abstract and concrete methods. In abstract class, we can have both abstract and concrete methods, but in interface, abstract methods. From Java 8, we can have a default and static methods also. Right, Java 8 onwards. In Java 9, they have introduced private methods also. Multiple inheritance, it will not support. Classes will not support multiple inheritance. Interface will support. Right, we can. Access modifiers can have constructor, variables, methods with any access modifier. All methods are public abstract by default. Right, public abstract methods all are. Performance wise, slightly for this is slightly faster, slower due to interface lookup. Right, what is the difference between exception and error? Right, both are child classes of throwable interface. Right, we know throwable, right, throwable class, right, throwable class. Right, exception and error classes are both are child classes of throwable class. Right, throwable class. Right, exceptions are recoverable, errors are non-recoverable. Right, we know that. Right, exception it will occur due to right null pointer exception, IO exception. But errors, stack overflow, out of memory, we cannot recover those things. Right, can be handled using try and catch block. Here we cannot handle, errors cannot be recovered. Right, then explain dynamic binding, static binding. Right, I already told you polymorphism, right, oops concept. The dynamic binding, sometimes they will confuse, right, a different wording. Dynamic binding is, right, compile time polymorphism. Static binding is runtime polymorphism. We can also call it as static binding is method of overloading. Dynamic binding is method of overriding. If we ask, sometimes we will easily get it, method of overloading, method of overriding. But if they sometimes they will ask dynamic binding, static binding. Dynamic binding is method of overriding. Static binding is method of overloading. Right? Okay. And then difference between comparable, comparator. Right? Both are used to sort the user defined objects. Right? Sometimes they will ask list of employee. I want to sort based on employee ID, right? Employee name, employee salary, right? Then we will go for comparable comparator. If you want to sort user defined objects, then we will go for comparable comparator. It is in java.lang package, it comparator util package. This is natural ordering, this is custom order. It will have a comparable compare to method, it will take single object. Comparator will have a comparator, it have two objects it will take. Modifies the class itself, it will not modify class. External, we can write external comparison logic. Right, suppose if you want to write comparable, we must student class must implement, any class must implement comparable if you want to use. Then it is an interface, it has abstract method, we have to override and write the logic. For comparator, it's right, we can write age comparator, salary comparator, right, multiple comparators we can write by using comparator. Right, but comparable must be implemented by compare right class only. We can write only one logic only. Here we can write multiple comparators, we can create it. Right, programming questions. Right, logic for finding duplicate character in a string. Right, this is a common question in every logic for finding duplicate character. Right, how to find? We can use the hash map. Right, we can create a hash map character integer. Right, we can convert to character array and we can put each character and then we can get, suppose if it is already exists, we can increment by 1, or if it is first time we will store as a 1. Right, then print, and after insertion is done, just print key is greater than 1. Right, that integer value is greater than 1. If value is greater than 1, just print that character. Right, how to print the duplicate, how to find the duplicate characters. Right, I think everyone knows that is a simple. One more is reverse a string while preserving the white space. Right, it is a little tricky question. Right, if you directly, if they will ask string reverse means we can right, simply we can write reverse it. But they are asking to preserve the white space. Right, they are asking to preserve the white space. Wherever the white space is in reverse order also same position white space should be there. For that we can take the help of the stack. We can take the help of the stack. Right. First convert the string into 2-char array. Take the stack. Right. Pull all the characters. Push. Right. Push. There is a method in the stack push. Push all the characters into the stack. Right. Except space. Except space. All the non-space characters push into stack. Okay, it will preserve the order because it is a child class of the list interface, right? So it will store the it will store the insertion order. Okay, then replace non-space characters from the stack. Then what we have to do? Let's see, iterate it. If array of I not equal to space, right? Where we are iterating in the original string, right? In the character of array, right? We are iterating. Stack has all the characters. Now what we are doing in the array, what we are doing, we are not space, right? It will have, suppose right now we have a space, b space, c. Okay, you think like that. In the stack we already have a abc, right? This is the original, right? This is the original one. Then stack has a abc, stack has a abc. Now what we are doing in the original array, if it is not equal to empty, first we will iterate a, right? Then stack dot pop, take the a from the stack, keep it in the original array, that's it. Right, in the reverse order, right? In the reverse order we have to keep it, right? In the stack means it will, whenever we pop, it will come in the order. Suppose if it is abc, c will come pop, last one will come first, right? Last one will come first, C will come next. It is a space, right? Leave it as it is, we are not doing anything. Then B, right? Next one, from here it will take and pop and print it. Next space, leave it empty, then otherwise it. Here, right, we are keeping only spaces in the original, remaining character we are replacing with the stack, right? This is the one. There might be multiple logic, this is the one of the logic, how to preserve the spaces, right? Those are the two interview Java questions. Right, then coming to TestNG questions. Right, what are the groups in TestNG? Right, we know groups are used to categorize the test cases. Right, if you want to categorize the smoke test cases, right, regression test case, sanity test cases, right, functional API test cases. Right, it helps to organize the groups. Now, right, how to write groups in the test tag groups? Smoke. We can have a multiple groups also. Right, a single test can belongs to multiple, right? Like this smoke and regression also we can give, right? While running simply in the TestNG file, groups run include which group we want to run, right? We can run it. What is the data provider? We know data provider is used to supply test data to test method, right? If we want to execute data driven testing, that means same test case I want to execute with different test data. Suppose I want to test a login with different multiple users, admin user, right, non-admin user, library user, right, normal user, right? I want to test all the users whether they are able to log in, then we will go for a data provider concept. Right, in the TestNG, right, it will return a two-dimensional object array. Right. What are the TestNG annotations? What are different? We have, this is the normal question, right? At the rate test, before suit, after suit, before class, after class, before method, after method, data provider, and then parameters we have. These are all we have. These are all we know, right? Then explain about the testng.xml, right? Sometimes they will ask what are the tags we will have, right? It will have suit name and test name, then classes. Sometimes they will ask to write also, right? We have to practice it. Class name inside a class, right? Sometimes we will have a methods, right? Classes, class, and methods include and exclude tags. Right, in the suit tag we will have a sometimes parameters they will ask, right? If you want to run the parallel, right, we can have a parallel tests or methods, right? And thread count, right? We will have attributes also and the listeners also additionally, right? What is the soft and hard asset? soft and hard assertions. Right, hard assertions means what? Whenever hard assertion is failed, it will stop the execution there itself. Right, by using assert class, we can achieve the hard assert. Critical checks where execution should stop failure. Suppose if login itself is not working, we no need to continue, right? Right, whenever important steps are there, we don't want to continue further, then we will use hard assert. Soft assertion means we will use a soft assert class. Right, if soft assert is fail also, it will continue further. Right, non-critical checks. Right, suppose if you want to validate after submitting the UI form, I want to validate from the DB whether both are correctly saved or not. Whatever input data I have given, it is inserted in the database or not. Right, in those cases, I have to validate all the first name, last name. Then lastly, I will show whichever is failed. In those cases, we will go soft assertion. How to it? This is the hard assertion. Assert dot assert equal. Right, assert boolean, assert true. That we can use. Soft assertion means we can use the soft assert class. And then soft assert class also have a assert equal. Then and finally we will call assert top. Then only it will validate. Otherwise it will not validate. How do you take a screenshot? Right, this is also a we will get frequently asked question. How do you take a screenshot when test case is failed? Right, we can have a multiple approach by using listener, test listener, or we can use the after method. Right, in the after method also we can get the test result object, and then we can verify whether the result is right status is pass or fail. Based on that we can do, and listeners also. Right, we can create one utility class, take the screenshot. Right, by using the take screenshot interface, we can get the screenshot. Right, we can take the screenshot, and we can implement the listener, test listener, whenever on test failure. Right, there is a method, right, on test failure. Here we can take the screenshot. Then we have to configure that listener in the TestNG file, or otherwise you can use the after method. Right, anything is. Then sometimes if you know the knowledge of Cucumber, there are Cucumber questions also. What are the Gherkin keyword? Right, different Gherkin keywords in the Cucumber. Right, we have a future scenario given when, then, and, but. Scenario outline, examples, background. These are the different keywords, Gherkin keywords we have in the right feature file in Cucumber. Right. Then what is the scenario outline in the future file? What is the user? This is like a scenario outline is like a TestNG data provider, right? If I want to execute data driven testing, similarly in Cucumber scenario outline, right? By using here, see scenario outline, we can execute same test data with multiple test data. Same test case we can execute with multiple test data. Scenario outline is like a TestNG data provider to achieve the data driven testing. Right, coming to framework related questions, general they will ask explain about the framework. Right, we can explain what is the whether we are using hybrid framework, right, keyword driven, data driven, keyword driven. Usually we will use right hybrid framework, right, page object model with data driven testing. And we can explain about right page object model and what technologies we have used, what is the structure we have followed, what are the utility classes we have, right, where we are maintaining test classes, page classes, right, right for unit testing, right, how to execute by using TestNG or Cucumber or Maven, right, build tool, right, how, right, whether we are using Git, Jenkins, right, we can explain all those things. Then one more question, how to read Excel data and store in the hash map. Right, I think we know everyone knows this. Right, we can take the suppose I have a 10 rows in the Excel I want to store in the map. Right, first we have to read the Excel file. Right, how you will read? We can first read the file object, create the file object to read the file, and workbook factory dot create. We will get the workbook. Then which sheet we want, we can read it. If sheet equal to null, return the empty list. Right, list of map. That means list of rows. Map is one row. Right, list of rows. We can create a list of map. Right, then get the physical number of rows. If the rows are 0, return empty list, right? If there are no rows, return empty list. If we need to get the header row and then physical number of columns, we have to iterate one by one row, right? One loop, two loops we will have, right? One loop for row, one loop for column, right? Then we can store header, right? We have to store, suppose username equal to something, password equal to something, right? Then we have to create a map like key as a header, username equal to something abc, password, right? Map we have to prepare, then add to the list. Once the map is done, right, inner for loop will create a map. For each row we will create a one map, then add to the list, right? That is a simple thing only. Right, coming to CI/CD questions, generally they will ask, right, do you have experience with the Jenkins integration? Right, we can tell. If you know the knowledge, just tell how to, we have to download the Jenkins. Right, if they will ask, right, otherwise in real time we will not install. We, right, already client will provide the Jenkins, then we will create the permissions. If you have, we can create the jobs. Otherwise, they only, admin team only will create the job and we need to configure it. That's it. Whatever based on the situation, question how they will ask, based on it, that we have to, suppose if you want to do end to end, we have to download the Jenkins var file, right? Then we can start it. Once we start it, right, it will start on the, how to start it, java-jar, right? We can use command from the command prompt, right? It will, by default it will run on the http column, right? First time it will ask for the initial password, it will show on the command prompt while running, right? We can copy paste and install the plugins, and then what are the required plugins? Git plugin, Maven plugin, right? HTML plugin, these are all we have to install, and we have to configure jdk Maven, right? And then git credentials we have to store it, right? All those things we have to store it, right? Then we can create the either freestyle project, or we can create pipeline freestyle project, or Maven job, right? Whatever you are aware of it, just learn any one flow and then do it, right? We have to configure the git, right? Git URL, and then give the Maven command, and in the publisher post build steps, we can, where the report is generated, we can give it so that it will show in the Jenkins, right? Then right, this is the pipeline. If you want to, right, if you are familiar with the pipeline, you can also explain the pipeline also, right? What are the, suppose sometimes they will ask different git commands or specific commands they will ask, right? Git clone, git fetch, git pull, git commit, git push, git branch, git checkout, git merge, right? Git stash, git reset, right? They will ask any git any one question. Mostly they will ask sometimes git merge command, right? Merge and rebase, what is the difference between git merge and rebase, stash and pop, right? Those questions. SQL question, like find the second highest salary of employee, right? Second, this is the, I think, basic question in all interviews. Now we will get, we can use select distinct salary from employee order by descending order, then limit one, offset one, right? We can use, like, there are multiple queries based on the database, right? This is the simple one, we can get it, right? What are the joins, and explain types of, what are the joins we have, why we need to combine the two tables, we will use the joins, right? We can have a inner join, right, to get the common query, so it will return only common rows between the two tables. Inner join, left outer join means it will return all the rows from the left and matching rows from the right. Common rows plus additional rows in the left. Right means common rows plus additional rows in the right. Full means common rows plus left and right additional rows. Cross join, it is a Cartesian product, every row of the first table combined with each row of the second table. Right, this is the Cartesian product. Each row will map with the second table all the rows. The self join. Right, sometimes we require self join. We can also use self join. Right, inner join, left join, right join, full join, cross join, self join. Right, coming to manual, what are the agile ceremonies? Right, I will not go into depth, just high level. Agile ceremonies means right sprint planning, daily stand up, right sprint review, sprint retrospective, backlog refinement. Right, these are all called sprint agile ceremonies. Right, sprint planning, daily stand up, and then sprint review, retrospective, backlog review. And explain black box and white box. Right, black box testing, right, testing without knowledge of internal code. Right, for white box testing we require a internal coding knowledge. Right, whatever developer written, right, something we should know. For black box we don't require. Black box, what we will do, functional and non-functional testing, right, UI, API, database, performance, security. But white box testing we should know some of the code, internal code. Right, mostly developers we will write unit testing, integration. These are all developed by developers mostly. Right? How would you conclude that? Suppose they have asked a scenario-based question. How would you conclude that a login page is user-friendly? Right? On what basis we will say login page is a user-friendly? Right? We have to consider UI and design. Right? Simple and clean layout, clear labels, placeholders, the text should be clear. Responsive design. Right? It should be responsive on desktop and mobile devices. Right, fast loading, error handling. If you enter wrong things, it should clearly display error handling. Password visibility toggle, social login options, security input validation, strong password guidelines, multi-factor authentication, accessibility, keyword navigation support, or screen reader support. Right, these are the different points we can consider right for user-friendly login page. Right, what are the points should consider while writing a test case? Right, while writing the test case, what are the points? Right, we have to use a clear test case title, use consistent test case template. Right, template should be throughout the all the test case should be unique. Right, keep test cases short and precise. Right, cover positive and negative test cases. Boundary do cover the boundary value testing, edge case testing, database performance testing if required. Right, UI and usability, cross browser, right, mobile responsive, check for proper error. Right, then coming to API query parameters in the header. Right, query parameters generally we will know, we will send as a in the right URL as a colon, right, question mark, key equal to value. We know this is generally query parameters how we use. But how we will send in the headers? Right, in header if you want to send, we have to keep as a key as a x custom query, value as a key equal, we have to send like key equal to value. Right, like this. Header key is this, header value is like key and value, like this. Difference between authentication and authorization. Right, this is also we can expect most of the time. Right, authentication means what? It will verify who the user is. Right, you want to authenticate yourself, right, by using username, password, or if you go to right apps, right, fingerprint. First we have to authenticate who we are. Authorization means on what resource we have access. Right, based on our user type, we will have access to some resources, some resource we don't have. Right, requires credentials. Here requires role-based permissions. Login with username, password, and control will be admin user permissions. Right, authentication means verifies who the user is, but authorization determines what resource we have access. Right, how to pass authentication. Right, how to, this is one more how to pass authentication detail. We will have a different types of authentication. Right, basic authentication, username, password, or bearer token, or API key. We can have a OAuth token. Right, different authentications. What is the difference between put, patch, post? Right, put A post we will use it to create the new resource, right? We know. And patch is partially to update the partial update, right? Put means to update or create, right? If it is available it will update, otherwise it will create the resource. What are idempotent, right? Idempotent means what it, this is also sometimes we can expect. Idempotent methods of procedure produce the same result regardless of how many times. Suppose you are retrieving data, right? User one data, right? If you hit 10 times also same data we will get, that is idempotent. Same result regardless how many times they execute, right? What are idempotent? Idempotent method means get to put to delete option set. These are all idempotent. Every time it will return same result. Non-idempotent means post and patch, right? It will return every time different results. So it is the non-idempotent methods. Relevance of idempotent methods in the rest. What is the right use of? Right, ensure safety. Multiple retries won't change the outcome. Helps in error handling. Right, if a network issue occurs, the request can be retried safely because of idempotent. Right, what is the payload in the RESTful web services? Right, what is the payload usage if you want to create or update, right? We will use the payload, right? Mostly we will use in the post and put request, we will use the payloads. Right, then coming to managerial round, right? These are all discussing challenges, right? Automation project work, overcoming how you overcome the obstacles. Right, you can explain whatever the challenges, right? Like just I have noted down frequent UI changes, dynamic element locators, handling authentication and captchas. Right, how do you overcome by using XPath and CSS or dynamic, right? By using right WebDriver weight, fluent weights, and page object model factory pattern to enhance maintainability. Worked closely with the developers to introduce IDs for the elements so that we can easily identify it. Handle authentication using API calls instead of captchas, right? If there is any possibility, we can use the API calls. Right? If you want to execute faster, use the headless browser. Right? Stay updated with the latest trends and best practice. How you are, right? They will ask how you stay with the latest trends and best. We can do right online learning, community forums, conference, webinar, right? Hands-on practice. Right? These are the different things we will do, right? To stay updated with the market. Handling a developer who is not fixing a bug, right? A developer is not fixing the bug. What we have to take it, right? Reproduce and document clearly, right? First we have to document the clearly all the steps, then discuss the impact. What is the impact if we not fixed it? Collaborate instead of blaming, right? Instead of right blaming the developer, just discuss with him, right? What is the reason why he is not fixing? He might have a different right opinion. We can get it. Then if he still not listening, we can escalate if needed, right? Then if still it is not fixed, our automation is blocking, we have to see the is there any alternative way to right to achieve it. Otherwise, right, we have to escalate it. Identifying what can be automated, right? How we will know what can be automated, right? Repetitive test cases, right? We can repetitive test cases are high ROI areas, that is critical functionalities, right? Stable features, data driven test, cross browser regression. What not to automate? Exploratory testing, frequently changing right UI, one time test cases, right? We will not automate those things. Right, behavioral question, right? These are all general. Provide details about your academic and work. HR questions, right? What is the expected CTC? Why Deloitte right makes you different from others? How soon you can join? Right, these are all. Finally, right, tips means what? Direct, we have to practice it, right? Practical questions means whenever they will ask, right, they will ask to write down the question, definitely we should know syntaxes, right? If we practice, then only we will write. Otherwise, right, we cannot. We can tell orally, but right, sometimes they want to write down programs. Right, framework knowledge. Right, just to prepare for the framework, how to explain it, what are the components, so that right, you will remember it. CI/CD, right, learn right how to integrate with. Right, logical thinking means we have to practice daily Java programs. Right, behavioral questions. Right, these are all the general right tips. Any interview if you want to go. Right, thanks for watching. If you like right way of teaching and content presentation, just subscribe to the channel, enable notification for more interesting videos like this. Please share to your friends. Please comment in the comment section if you have any suggestions or any questions. Right, please like the video. Thanks for watching.